Hey guys, welcome back to Screen Syndicates, and we got a packed week for you. My name's Anthony, and that's Peyton. How you doing, Peyton?
I am doing fantastic. I can't believe we just got to
Fantastic.
watch that.
Talked about it last week. What a time to be a nerd! And I'll be honest, I may not have had a better week of television in my entire life.
I'm right there with you, bro. I was thinking the same thing, and it feels like every week is getting better and better, which is
A
nuts.
hundred percent,
I'm kind
a
of
hundred
sad that
percent.
next
So
week will be our last week with both at the same time.
absolutely, we had a debate on last week what we were going to watch first. And in last pod, I said I'm gonna watch Invincible first, and you go, I'm gonna watch The Boys first. And before we talked, I watched The Boys first, and you watched Invincible first.
Invincible.
It's funny how it worked out. But so for you guys joining us today, we are going to be breaking down both Invincible episode 7 and The Boys episode 3. And we're going to start off with Invincible. We're going to get into a quick spoiler free review, our scores, and then we're going to dive into the spoilers. And then we're going to do a Boys quick spoiler free review and our scores, and then dive into the Boys spoilers. So thank you guys for joining us with the Peak Television. Other things we're not talking about in today's pod, but Peyton, you put me on Maul, which I
Yes.
really enjoyed so far. And then I started Daredevil this week. I didn't
Oh
tell you
boy.
about this. Daredevil might be just as good as these other shows. So far, this
Really?
season's a 9 out of 10. I didn't watch today's episode yet because I was watching these, but it's peak TV season. I can't wait to get home from work, sit down, and just watch some shows.
No, it really is peak TV season. Did you, with you watching Daredevil, I've heard of this. I don't know. I'm not caught up at Daredevil at all, but the diner scene,
Diner scene was unreal. Bullseye is one of the best villains
it
I've
makes
seen
me
in
want to
TV. So
watch it.
yeah, that might be after the boys and Invincible ends. I'm not sure how many episodes are left of Daredevil, but that might be one to catch up and we'll talk about on the pod for the future as a little teaser.
Yes, sir.
So getting into it, Invincible. All right. We had back to back banger episodes, and I'm sitting here like, okay, we're talking, what are they going to do? There's only 2 episodes left. I don't know. And
Yeah.
then they just drop rating for me another 10 out of 10. This is unbelievable. I think around a 3. I think I went 9.9, 10, 10. This is an unreal run. What did you give it as a rating?
I'm right there with you, baby. 10 out of 10. That shit was
It's
fire.
unbelievable. Everything you want to see in Invincible episode, character development, action, story progression. I cannot recommend this show enough. I had cousins who gave up on the show after halfway through season 2, and I said, "Dude, just watch it, please." And now they're texting me this week saying this is one of the best shows I've ever watched.
Oh my God, they must have been so happy that you put them back on. And I feel the same way. I
Yeah,
can't believe I didn't watch it before, but I am so glad I'm caught up in watching this in real time and waiting week to week. I feel like it makes it a lot more fun, to be honest. I thought I liked binging, but just being able to sit and talk about it with you for a week and come up with theories on what's going to happen, I absolutely love it because we thought it was going to slow down come after what was it, episode 4 or 5? I think episode
yeah.
5, and then it just has kept the same pace.
Just keeps going. It's honestly increasing, and it's
Yeah,
unbelievable. We had some predictions kind of come right. We'll talk about that with some spoiler free, but or spoilers. If you guys enjoyed that little spoiler free review and you want to see more details, check out our page, Screen Syndicates. Come subscribe, join the community. But let's get into it. Official spoiler warning for Invincible season 4, episode 7.
yep.
All right, Pate, let's get into it. Let's from the start. We get this flashback scene, and at first I didn't really pick up on it. I picked up on it, and I'm like, "Is this a flashback?" Because I saw Creed, the guy with the missing eye. I'm like, he has 2 eyes,
Yeah, he had
and
two
then I
eyes.
see we've been calling him Thaddeus, but
It's
what
Thetis.
is
Thetis.
Thetis? Yeah, it's Thetis. Exactly. I
I
was
was
like, all
thinking the
right.
same thing. I was like, "Fuck, I've been
Yeah.
messing up that name the whole time."
Same here, but so Thetis, you see him, he's a little skinny in that.
Yeah.
He got on a bulk after. But they're just talking about the first little revolution that started with the Viltrumites. You see the old leader, you see Thrag as second in charge, and their whole plan, Thrag's idea is decimation. We gotta eliminate any potential rebellion and set an example. And you see the sprinkling of the betrayer, like thinking this is not right, and then you eventually see him kill the current leader. What were your thoughts on that initial flashback scene?
I thought it was really cool just to see their mindset and why they are the way that they are, and actually seeing the Emperor, just because obviously we've only seen the skull, and just seeing why Thrag's kind of so obsessed with the skull and just the Viltrum way of life, and it gives like a good tease into it, and I really liked it.
100%. I think that scene was super important. And the following scene, get into a little bit where Thrag is now in charge. Well, before I get into that, what it really builds is you see Thrag's obsession or just respect for the current leader.
Yeah,
And you understand where now his backstory, where he comes from. This guy put him in charge as second in command, listened to his opinions, and he you could tell he truly respected the guy. And when he died, he was crushed, and that carried in to where he is now.
absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right where you needed this because about the backlash that we were given Thrag last week, obviously this that all changes with this episode, but it was really
Yeah.
cool to see why he was so attached to the skull and is so like Viltrum and Viltrumites,
Mhm.
like just his obsession with their way of life and their species.
100%. So then we get into Thrag's now in charge, and something you brought up last week, his mink coat. I'm not gonna
I
lie,
was
it is.
thinking the
Or I
same.
love it. I love it. So then he gets on stage and says, "We have to get rid of the weak. We have to kill the weakness." And then there's just a brutal civil war. Everybody just starts turning on each other. All of a sudden, they're just throwing hands, and that was some of the most gruesome, savage stuff in the show. And I just couldn't take my eyes off. One thing, the visuals this whole episode were unreal. But that scene specifically, I love the blood covering the weight of Viltrum. You got Thrag just saying, "Are you going to betray me?" Cutting his head off right away.
Yeah,
The kids fighting. The coolest thing was the one guy got his eyes ripped out. While his eyes are ripped out, he opens up
is
her
that
chest, rips out her heart.
yeah.
That. What did you think of that whole scene? Survival of the fittest, purging the weakness.
Dude, I love it, and it really ties into why these Viltrumites are just such strong badasses and have no care for life and have no sympathy. Because just look
Mhm.
at how they are brought up with all that fighting, and that scene was just nuts. Especially how it started off with Thrag just chopped the dude's head right off, and then and it was just so badass just seeing him kind of walk away as they're just all
Mhm.
fighting. You see like the blood just raining down on to Viltrum, and it was so gory and so sick of just constant fights, people flying around, beating each other, kids beating each other up. It was nuts.
100%. I had like at first I was like, wow, they're killing Viltrumites so easily, and like, why don't they do that now? But then I realized that they were getting rid of the weak because in that last shot, it was just the savages that we recognize left, like Conquest, the one girl, and you realize no, they're the best of the best. That's why the ones today are so hard to beat.
And was this before the virus or after?
Before the virus.
Before the virus. I was about to say if they were doing that after, that was kind of crazy to do. I'm
Exactly.
like,
So then
especially when you're low in numbers.
that's what I was thinking. So they whittled it down, and then they must have built it back up of just pure strong Viltrumite. Because then you see if you cut back to Nolan's intro, like
Uh-huh.
in that upbringing. Because then the virus hit after that. But I was thinking the same thing at the time.
And I love seeing
But
Conquest back on screen.
so do I. I want as much conquest as I can get.
Exactly, me too.
Then you get cuts back to present time, and you see our crew, our good guy crew. I love it. I love our good guy crew. My favorite, like, he actually was making me laugh the whole episode. Is Battle Beast.
Dude,
Just
he
he
was
was just an
killing it this
absolute.
episode.
He was so freaking funny.
One of my favorite
The
scenes from it
Go ahead.
was when they were sitting there talking about their final meal. What would they eat if they were to die? And Battle
Yeah.
Beast is like, I want to be choking on my own blood and taste it. And that will be my final meal when I find a worthy enough opponent. And everybody just stares at him. I thought that was awesome.
I literally had that written down because it made me laugh, and it just fits his character so well.
It does. Oh,
And
did
then
you?
so they're all together. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you hear about this with I didn't realize Robert Kirkman's in the process right now. I think issues are coming out like right now with Battle Beasts as a separate comic. I'm actually
Didn't know
curious
that.
to read it. Like, I just feel like it would be like a fun story to read because I was hearing him talk about it, and he was saying like Battle Beast is like a fan favorite, I guess, and it makes sense just because his character is such a badass and just
Yeah.
funny, and people get along with it. But he was saying like how he what is it, like got tied into the group and just as before like he got involved in the war and everything. So I think that'd be a cool read after all this.
That would be. I'm very curious. I thought he was going to die this episode. The way
Me
they were
too.
setting him up to be a badass, I thought Thrag was going to come kill him. So I'm curious where his character even ends up.
Yeah, I don't know
And
what they're gonna
because
do.
he was in there, the you brought up just Robert Kirkman talk. I wanted to bring this up, not to talk about now, but a future topic.
Uh-huh.
Do you know they're making a live action movie
I
of Invincible?
I did hear that, and it's crazy. I think it was actually he said he's worked on it before the show actually came out, or like had
Yeah,
thoughts of it, or was trying to get it, everything in
but
motion.
I wrote that down. I want to talk about that more in the future. Maybe a future pod episode in the off season would be like dream castings
Yeah,
for who we want to play and stuff like that. But back to the episode. We get our crew, we're all together. I still hate Thaddeus's plan of going to attack them. They're all together, they get together. I was getting the feeling that Alan was gonna die. They like kept showing that he's always gonna get back to his girl and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, he's toast.
yeah,
Um, so then they show up and all the shit we were talking about, Thrag, he just shows up with the most aura possible, just standing there waiting. And then their plan was so genius, hiding within the like ring around the planet of all the dead bodies, just sitting there. When that happened, did you expect? Did you expect deaths? Did you think they
yeah,
were gonna win
dude.
there?
I thought somebody was gonna die for sure right off the bat. I feel like I thought maybe it was going to be Zoe just because obviously she's probably the weakest character there, and you can see like Oliver growing a attachment, and same thing with Alan. So it would have
Hmm.
been just like set them both off and then make them kind of act out of rage and end up getting
Hmm.
killed. Is what I was thinking when I saw like obviously the Viltrumites hiding in the ring. That was a
Yeah,
genius idea, and I love that it
so
was still
smart.
there when they went there. When they first
Yeah.
showed Viltrum as a planet and seeing the ring
Mhm.
around it, I was like, that's so dope that it's still there.
That is, and it makes sense. I think what Nolan said, it was just a reminder of anytime someone leaves, or it might have
Yeah.
been Thaddeus, or no, it was
Yeah.
Nolan,
Hmm.
and that is he called it a memorial, and that is it. Just fits the Viltrumite culture so well.
It does.
And so then we show up, and then they attack the one lady with the spear
Hair
hair.
thing. Yeah.
Just yeah, slice his back. Thaddeus, there's Thaddeus. Is it
Thetis.
Thetis? I keep saying it wrong. Thetis, his back open. Someone rips it open later.
Yeah.
But that whole battle scene to start was so cool. Just seeing we have all of our main characters against a bunch of Viltrumites, and I was just like, I take notes throughout the episode. I put my phone down. I was just sitting there in awe of what I was watching.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it happened so fast. And we got to see, like, we really got to eat our words with Thrag just becoming this ultimate badass with the most
Yeah,
aura ever, just sitting there,
ever.
like, just watching it, doesn't even flinch, move, and just watching chaos break out. It was so sick.
Uh, it was, and then we come in with Space Racer, who might be the MVP of our. He is such an asset to the good guys.
Oh,
He comes in.
absolutely.
He comes in, and it was sick when he brought in the monsters who those creatures, and they were putting in work.
They were, because it's funny because we talked about. I think it was in the first pod that we did. Yeah, because they showed it in episode 2 of
Mhm.
season 4, where they were going to try to capture those things, and it's like, how do you even get them to work on your side? And it was funny because they even attacked Thetis, or I can't even say his name any now, but they even it showed them like even attacking him. So that was cool that it
Yeah,
wasn't like kind of corny where they were just only attacking Viltrumites, and
100%.
how convenient.
I thought the same thing. And then they get the opening, and Thetis is like, "Nolan, go for it." And I'm like, "Okay, here we go." He's going after Thrag, and Thrag just absolutely bodies him to all the way down to the planet. It was unbelievable. I was like, oh no. I thought he was toast.
Me
Right. I
too.
thought he was just gonna go down and kill him right away.
And the shot was so sick where Nolan's flying with all his force and Thrag's just sitting here and then he just does a
Yep.
dodge and then just completely slams them right back into their planet. No, that was so sick.
And honestly, one of my favorite moments of the episode was when they were sitting on the planet having that conversation. Because you could tell Thrag respects Nolan's past. And Nolan always has shown a respect for the Viltrumite way.
Uh-huh.
And he now understands why it's wrong. So just hearing their back and forth on ideologies, why it doesn't make sense, and with the background of Viltrum just being a ghost town, the lightning was sick,
Yeah,
and you really understand this guy Thrag has this vision to bring this planet back to life, but at what cost? And Nolan understands the cost is the death of the rest of the universe, pretty much.
exactly. And that back and forth between them was so great. I didn't think that
Mhm.
was how it was going to go, but it was such a nice switch up and especially
Yeah,
like a break from the action and then it cutting back to the action. I think that was just great writing, filmmaking, however you want to call it. I think it was set up great.
it really was. I mean, you like because you could tell Thrag could kill him at any moment if he wanted to.
Mhm.
But he wanted to have the talk, and he brought up a great point. He's like, "Well, so do you want Thaddeus or Thetis with your kids?" Like,
Uh-huh.
and Nolan like is like, "No," and he knows that's not the right thing, but it's what is the worst evil, and clearly the Viltrumite way is. And then the line where he's like, "You didn't have to attack my boys" or something like that, and then they got me juiced. They got the testosterone
Yeah.
flowing, and then Thrag's like, "Well, I was just testing them," and I was like, "Oh shit." Shit's
No, that
about to
was
go
so
down.
sick. Then he did like tornado punch
Yeah,
Nolan right back to space. It was
right,
sick.
all the way back up, and then you get the inevitable scene. You know, Oliver's just might be. He's a teenage kid. It makes sense for his character. It's just they
Yeah.
told him straight up, don't attack him one on one, and he goes in and Thrag just bodied him. Absolutely bodied him.
And it's actually starting to kind of annoy me of right before Oliver's about to like sneak attack, he's like, "What's up, idiot?" And then like every time he
Yeah,
like says he's about to hit him and then they just turn around, catch it, breaks his hand and
break his
chops his
hand.
arm
Yeah,
off. That was nuts.
and then he just clean punched his jaw off. You see
Oh
Nolan
yeah.
pissed. And I'm like, oh, I really didn't know where it was going to go down. And then he goes, Space Racer, come with me. And Space Racer's weapon, that gun, is the most overpowered thing. But like, it makes sense. But it's just literally so they shoot the planet. That shot of the three of them flying in together. I thought that was so cool. The visuals were unreal this episode. And they obviously fly through and just blow up the whole planet.
Did you think that's what they were gonna do when Nolan said like on me and like follow me in?
It took me a second. I thought he was just going to like wipe out the surface level.
Uh-huh.
I didn't expect the gun to go through the whole entire planet.
I thought it was gonna be they were gonna just try to destroy the skull because for some reason I thought that's kind of where
Mhm.
Thrag was getting power from because right before he did a powerful move there was like a flash of a skull for like a split second. I can't think of what it was, so I didn't know if he was getting like power from it and no one knew that,
Mm.
so that's what I thought at first they were going to destroy that.
That was I thought my first thought too was the skull just to like lure Thrag out, but I didn't think about the power thing. That is an interesting take. The so they fly through, minor gripe, but I get why they did it. Their shirts melt off, but their
The
pants are
pants are
fine.
fine. Yeah. I was thinking of the same thing.
Because if they were just standing out there, dick swinging the three of them, that would
Yeah.
have that would have been funny.
That
So
would
then they get up there, and Thaddeus or Thrag, Thetis gives this speech that your planet's destroyed. The only thing you can do is surrender. And Thrag just goes, "I'll choose death," and comes in and just rips his head off.
Did you think he was just gonna go out like that?
I didn't think it was going to be that quick. I thought he was just going to body him and just like
Yeah.
eventually put him down. But I was in shock. I'm like, oh my God, that he just ripped his head off.
Dude, in 2 seconds. And it just because we were thinking last podcast that he could have been like one of the top tier strongest Viltrumites just with how he was holding his own against Krieg and all the other Viltrumites. But
Yeah.
nope, Thrag came in 2 seconds, chopped his head clean off.
Chopped his head clean off, and then you get the Nolan and Mark versus Thrag. The biggest thing I took away from Thrag this episode is he's just so much faster than every other
Yes,
Viltrumite, flying, and it that battle. His speed was such an advantage.
absolutely, because you really get to see it when he sees them going down towards Viltrum, all three of them with Space Racer, and he just blows by the other Viltrumites and it like kind of throws them out of the way. And I was like, damn, this
Yeah,
dude's insane.
because part of me was like, when Nolan was on the planet or when they were fighting, I'm like, run, was just like, get out of there, get out of there. You're not going to win.
Yeah,
And but then I'm thinking they can't. This guy's just going to catch him.
yeah, you can't escape this guy. And I feel
Yeah.
like it kind of bothered me. And I can understand exactly why we said Thrag wasn't that strong. Because if he's doing what he's doing now, why did he ever run and not just come down last episode and just destroy everyone with all the Viltrumites? You know what I mean? That's
I thought the same exact thing because I was thinking, would it have been better to put the Thrag backstory before last episode to establish how strong Thrag is? But then I thought no, because you would have thought the whole time this guy. So why isn't he doing anything right now? Um, but I felt the same way. I'm like, this guy is clearly just can dominate. He could have taken out the whole team by himself
himself
if he wanted to. And you're right. He could have literally destroyed that planet last week, but that skull maybe was the thing holding him back. Now
back.
that that's gone,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think that's exactly what it was just the fear of losing the skull. And I don't know. And
hmm
I think just building up, obviously Robert Kirkman probably knew what he was doing when it
yeah.
came to this episode.
And then they cut to like the other guys fighting. One thing I take away is Zoe did hold her own this episode. I was surprised by that. Her little blow dart thing where Alan would kill him, that was cool, and she
Yeah.
was repaired. She was actually an asset this episode, which I was shocked by because I'm
Yeah.
like, how is she gonna help against 10 Viltrumites?
And she saved Space Racer, arguably probably the most powerful person
Yeah,
there.
100%. That was key.
I low-key thought he
Then,
was gonna die just because of how overpowered his weapon is. Like, you kind of just need to kill this guy off because I don't
mhm.
know. How do you lose with him?
If- I thought the same exact. If I was the Viltrumites, fuck Alan, Zoe. I don't care
Yeah,
about them. Even Mark and that. I'm going straight for Space Racer. 9 of us. We got to get that gun in our hands.
exactly. That would have been
Yeah.
instead of Data saying we got to go solely for Thrag. Thrag should have said we got to go solely for Space Racer. Don't worry about anybody. Kill Space Racer.
100%. And um, there was a shot early, like right when Space Racer showed up, where he shot towards. Because my whole mindset was like, look, just shoot Thrag. Like we just got to shoot Thrag. But
Yeah,
the first time they shot him, I love that he just wasn't phased, didn't even move. It just went right by him. But
yeah.
after watching how fast he is, he would just dodge every shot possible.
And I love his like fighting style. It seems like just
Mhm.
super calm, cool, collected, and just calculated with like his moves up until the end where he's just pure rage and anger.
100%. What did you think about the voice acting from him this episode?
I feel like it fits his character knowing him more. Like where he's
I
not
completely agree.
super like Conquest is like kind of more out there and like and like I'm a menace to where
hmm
everybody knows Thrag's a menace that knows him and he doesn't have to be like super out there and say how tough I am. I like that he's kind of just like we're gonna do this, that, and this is how what we're gonna do, and everybody just follows it. It kind of fits him more now.
100%. Yeah, I thought it was a lot better this episode. To your like, even with his fighting style, everything, you could just tell he's just the most composed man out there, and it fit with his tone. And then when he did get angry when he killed Thetis, you could tell the rage in his voice, where you could tell it doesn't come out often, but it did right there.
Yeah,
So I am now more back on to the voice acting.
yeah, 100%. And I feel like it just fit that episode while we were critiquing it because we're just
Mhm.
watching all this fighting and everybody's been hyping him up. And for him to
Yeah,
kind of look like a coward in that episode makes sense on where we were coming from.
yeah. And then they're in that fight scene. He's beating up Nolan, and I like how they dropped the line because at first I'm like, he just killed Thetis right away. Like, why isn't he just ripping Nolan's head off? But he's like, I want to enjoy it, blah blah blah. And
Yeah,
it just made sense. And then they're battling back and forth, and he does the Viltrumite classic OG move, and guts Nolan. And in that moment, I was hurt. Like, Nolan's my favorite character, and
yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, he just died. Did you feel that way?
Yeah, I did because he's definitely way higher on my list than what I put him in my top five. I was being
Mm.
naive, I guess, because his character's so good now. Like just all the arcs he's had throughout this season and even throughout season three, just he's such a great character.
I know. So I thought he was toast, and then it's Mark versus Thrag 1-on-1. And I'm like, there's no shot. And he starts doing the eye gouging, and I'm like, oh my god, is it? That's one thing about the show. Like, I'm like, no, Invincible can't die. Nolan, everybody can't just die.
Yeah,
But in the moment, I did believe. I'm like, he's toast.
me too, because I was like, there's no saving him. They all,
Yeah,
Alan and everybody already left. Omni Man's dead essentially, and there's just
yeah.
no saving Mark. What did you think when he like it pans to Thrag like looking out at his planet? What was your initial thought of what was running through his head?
I thought kind of what he ended up
Mm-hmm.
seeing because when I didn't have the realization till fully everyone pulled up, but there's what, five Viltrumites left? Not just not counting the good guys.
Yeah.
It was Thrag, Creed, and like three others.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, he's got a real there's no one left. How do you how can they reestablish the empire with five people?
Yeah, because my first thought when like it was running through his head of why he didn't just kill Mark right then and there, I was thinking maybe he could use him to Breeder could just use him in his army. And then second, as soon as I saw the planet, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna go to Earth and do the same thing. Because now
I
he's got
cannot.
nothing to lose. Like he just wants to cause pure chaos. He already essentially lost in his mind, so he's just going to do as much damage as he can.
Interesting. So we can get into it now, and we'll circle back. So you think Thrag's going to Earth to destroy the planet? Is that where you think?
Yeah, I think he just wants to do as much damage as he can to I think he will get more like gratification of destroying everything that they love like they did to him and then going and killing them. I feel like he would just love that.
So my take on it was he's going to Earth to breed. He put it all together where he saw Mark, and Mark's powerful enough, and he's a human Viltrumite mix. So now he's going to Earth to breed to restart the Viltrum Empire.
That actually that's probably what it will end up being because they can't just go and destroy Earth. That is probably
No,
exactly
but
what it's gonna be, and they're probably gonna do almost like tying into the boys, like these Viltrumite camps of breeding camps and just having it all locked down.
that is, I didn't think about the destroying. That's where my head went. But it's interesting, the two different perspectives. Who knows? We'll see next week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a banger finale. There's no doubt about
it,
it.
it really is. So, did you, when that scene happened, did you think Nolan and Oliver survived?
No, I I thought maybe Oliver was gonna come back somehow. I thought Omni Man was dead.
So did I. I thought for sure they were dead. So then we get the scene, they get saved. Alan's now the new leader, and they heal everyone. And the relief I had was when I saw Nolan, I'm like, whoo. I'll be honest, I if Oliver died, Oliver died. He's gonna do
Yeah.
something stupid again in the future anyway. but but Nolan we need. And then when I saw that, I had a nice sigh of relief. Did you feel a little sense of me did feel a little plot armor with him surviving? Because part of me is like, I feel like the other Viltrumites got punched through the guts and stuff. and they were toast. But they
Exactly.
did kind of set it up with Mark surviving the conquest situation.
It's true. It's funny that you asked that because I was literally about to ask you the same question. Like a part of
Mhm.
me, of course, I love these characters, would hate to see them go, but at what point do you stop bringing everybody survives all these crazy things? Because I feel like you
Yeah.
need to set the tone of no, this guy is literally killing your favorite characters and they're gone.
Because
So
in the future now, I don't know if anybody gets punched through the stomach. I'm going to assume they're going to survive
yeah,
versus die.
exactly, which is kind of a crazy way to look at it now, but that's really all they've set us up for that because we've watched the most gruesome stuff and they've
Yeah.
all survived it.
So I guess my mindset now is it's like zombies. You have to go for the head. Yeah, if the head's gone, they're dead. But anything to the body, they're still a shot. But then you still got freaking Conquest last season, got his head beat to a pulp,
Yeah,
and he survived.
and same thing with Angstrom, I think is his
Yeah,
name.
yeah,
Everybody's been surviving. It's actually kind of crazy.
yeah. It is kind of crazy. The with the Oliver thing, I was thinking, but it didn't seem that way. The I thought they were gonna put him in the pod that Alan was in, that like made him super strong.
Oh
I don't know if it
yeah,
is. It might be. I don't know. It could, but I know that was my first thought. I thought they were gonna do it to Mark. They were gonna put him in the pod, and
uh
he
huh.
was gonna get beefed up even more. And then I'm like, okay, I could see it in the future. But I'm curious. Maybe he's in the pod. I don't know. But they should definitely use that if they have it.
Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even put that together. That would be sick if they actually like beefed up Oliver and made him just way stronger.
Yeah. I had one last question,
Uh huh.
and it was regarding the virus. So when no, there was a great scene earlier when Nolan and Thetis were talking on the ship, uh, and like he's like, "We got to end the Viltrumites," but and then he was like, "Oliver and Mark are half Viltrumite." Well, but I thought the virus was going to come into play with him somehow, but
Yeah.
it didn't. So is the virus? Do you think that comes into play in the future, or do you think that storyline's kind of dead?
Ooh, that's a great question. Oh, I feel like it has to make a play in the future because I feel like there's too much built up and hype around it for it to just be
Mhm.
kind of done with. And I really don't know how you kill Thrag at this point
True.
without something like that.
Yeah, no, that is true. There, that I could see being an end game thing in the future that now Alan has in his back pocket. The other, are there more Viltrumites out there? That's I don't know, or is it just those five left?
I think it's just those five. Maybe there's a few scattered between different planets that they conquered or already tried to conquer or something like that. But I probably think it's just those five or six of them left.
Yeah, which is crazy. There, there was no post credit scene, right? I looked, I didn't see one.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because I didn't make out to that. So this episode, I give a 10 out of 10, and I
Hmm.
want to know what do you think is going to happen next week?
Dude, I'm, I actually don't even know because just this season has had such a crazy run. They have to do something insane. I'm really hoping we get to see some Cecil and Thrag like dialogue or I don't know. I just feel like that would go hard. But we have to
Yeah,
see something where I'm imagining they hit Earth, everybody, and there's just some crazy all out war on Earth where you're gonna have Cecil and I forget what the group's called, and then the
yeah.
Guardians and everything just come in and just have this crazy battle is what I would assume. And then it's probably gonna end, if I had to take a guess, where that's when Mark finds out the baby thing. Just because it's been played at the beginning of the season and it's probably gonna end with it.
So I think the baby is going to come into play somehow. I have a theory just on like Thrag's going to find out about the baby and view it as an optimism thing, like a future breeding. He's going to see, okay, we have a half Viltrumite human having a child with a super powered human. What is that
Uh-huh.
kid going to be? Is this the future of the Viltrumite Empire? Something like that. So I think that's going to come into play at the end of the season. And maybe that's how Mark finds out or something. It's going to be, I really don't know where this is going to go. The only thing I do know is Cecil's going to be sick when he just sees five
Sees.
Viltrumites flying full speed.
Yeah. And he doesn't even know Thrag yet. Wait till he sees what Thrag can do. His jaw's gonna be on the floor.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be unbelievable. We could be getting set up for just absolute death and destruction.
So as of right now, this is my favorite season of Invincible. Is that where you're at? Even no matter
100%.
how
This,
the finale goes.
no matter, unless it's an absolute shitter, this is one of the best seasons of any TV show I've ever watched.
I'm right there with you. It is so strong with
Yeah.
everything. We were critiquing, I feel like, episode 1 and 3 and a little bit of 4, but right after that, oh my. And they weren't even that bad. It was just slower
No.
pace compared to, of course, what we're seeing now.
Yeah, like I've been talking about this since we started the pod. I'm interested in the main story. And
Yeah.
every episode they've done of the main story has been an absolute banger. And I just can't take my eyes off. Like how can you go from this back to the Guardians fighting the shit repeat aliens again?
Yeah. A bank
Or
robber
the
and
yeah. What are we doing? So this has been peak TV, and Invincible is slowly creeping up. I have a list. Slowly
uh-huh.
creeping up. It might be my top 20 shows all time now.
Oh yeah, I think it has to be. After what we've
And
been watching.
if it continues on this trajectory, I don't know how it could sneak into the top 10, which is crazy for an animated show.
Yeah, for sure. I would have never have guessed finding myself, especially in my mid 20s, being in love with an animated show. I'm I
Absolutely.
can't wait for Wednesdays. This is literally the most hype I've ever been for a Wednesday.
I know yeah, I've never thought Wednesday would be the day of the week I can't wait to look forward to.
Exactly. I hope there's one more person I want to see next week. Titan. Somehow I want to see Titan get involved with the Viltrumites, and I don't know. I just love his character and I think it would be cool to see him.
I do too, but he can't do anything.
No,
That's
he's gonna
where
get screwed.
yeah, they got to use. I'm thinking of like all the things that gave the Viltrumites. Like they got to use the Asian dragon dude. They need it
Oh
all.
yeah. Yeah, he's
They
gonna
need it
have to
all.
play a role.
Or what we could see next episode is the robots that Cecil's been working on. The
Yeah.
uh
With
Invincible, those
with
ones. So
Sinclair.
yep, with Sinclair. That I I truly, because we've talked about, we don't know anything that's coming up, and did not expect this episode to be like this. And I can't imagine. I literally can't wait for next Wednesday.
Yeah, no, me too. And guys, comment below what you think is going to happen in the season finale of season 4 of Invincible. Just don't spoil it, please, if you know what's coming ahead with the comics. But let us know what you think and what is your rating on this episode. We are curious to know. Are we just glazing it? I don't think so. I think it was a 10 out of 10 by any standards, but I'm curious to
Mhm.
see what everybody else is thinking.
Yeah, drop those comments below. Any other final thoughts on Invincible before we move on?
No, they just got to keep doing what they're doing. They are on a roll.
They're on a roll. Interesting. When you opened up the Prime app, what was I had the boys as the number one on the top 10 and Invincible as two.
I know The Boys was number 1. I didn't pay attention. I imagine Invincible was number 2 as well.
So what a time to be. Amazon Prime is on an absolute heater.
Dude, they came out of nowhere and are just crushing the game.
They are. So, with that, we are now transitioning to The Boys, season 5, episode 3. Quick spoiler free thoughts. I think this was a good episode. I would
Hmm.
probably give it an 8 out of 10 episode. Really enjoyed it. It progressed the story, had some good character development, a couple solid little action scenes, and it just really sets up to I feel like we're leading down a road that I just can't wait to see. What was your overall rating of episode 3?
I was debating back and forth between 7.5 and 8. I think I'm gonna go with a
Mhm.
8. Same thing, great episode. It's just obviously I watched Invincible beforehand. So I was so ready for just like some crazy action nonstop. But I think it was like a great you needed it to build up the storyline.
Mhm.
And I think there was still some great action and just had me on the edge of my seat at some points.
Yep. So that is our spoiler-free thoughts. If you're seeing this on a clip and you want to tune in for our spoiler thoughts, come to Screen Syndicates. Welcome, welcome. So now, official spoiler warning. Getting into the boys, episode 3. So starting off, you get the scene in Russia, and who did you think was attacking them at first?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um For a second, I thought it was going to, especially with how Invincible started off with the flashback. I thought maybe it was going to be Soldier Boy because, especially at the
Mm.
end of the last episode that we've seen of the boys, was Soldier Boy just popping up out of the hazmat suit. So I thought maybe it was going to a flashback of him in Russia, but I didn't think it was. Ended up being Ryan. I didn't think it was him at first.
No, I didn't expect that either. I thought it was Black Noir because it was like a Batman-esque the way he took out
Yeah,
the first and second guy. But so you see Ryan, and he's definitely grown up a little bit. You can see his actor in his face. That was a nice opening scene, kind of set the tone a little bit. Curious where he's at because they showed him a lot in the previously on, and then we get back to present time, and there was the Soldier Boy like Photoshop and spin piece, which made me laugh.
yeah.
And then you see Homelander this season, his face acting has been unbelievable. You just see his face tweaking out while Soldier Boy's getting the spotlight. He
Yeah.
reveals that he's his dad, but I just can't take my eyes off of Homelander.
He was no dude, he is just a standout actor. Just how he can do it with the face acting and make you
Mhm.
like feel kind of uncomfortable just sitting at home watching this guy because you just know he is nuts and like is just so jealous of everyone, is
Mhm.
just looking and craving attention. He's
Yeah.
an insane actor. My only kind of critique was Soldier Boy just being right back in the mix and being welcome to Bot. I wish we got to see kind of what happened in between going from the hazmat suit, Homelander finding out he's alive. It kind of just like jumps right to the mix.
I felt the same way. At first, I thought that scene was a flashback, like to before
Yeah,
the virus, and I'm like, so Soldier Boy is just fine.
I
I
was
was
confused by
very
that too.
confused. Yeah, I would have loved to seen him. He clearly healed and everything, but I'll admit they had a nice little spin on it. Cause I'm like, how with the whole V1 or V generation one. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
call it V1 going forward, and that is immune. It's stronger for the virus. That was a nice little spin. I didn't expect that.
it was. I feel like they do such a great job of adding these little spins, and now it's like it changes the whole direction of the plan. And now
It really did.
they have to run an audible. I feel like it keeps
Yep.
happening to them every
Yeah.
single time. With like they have a great plan, and then now they get such a curveball, and now just have to adapt and change their plan. I love that they keep throwing these little curveballs at them.
Because it was great writing too. Because at the same time, you realize Homelander's not immune. Because I assume I'm like, oh, Soldier Boy is just so strong that the virus won't get him, but he just has the special V. So now Homelander's like, I gotta get V1. And I'm like,
Yeah,
in my head, I'm just thinking one of two things. One, V1 could like really mess up whoever takes it, and
hmm,
I could see that be an avenue they test it on someone. Say the boys get to it first, and like Kimiko takes it and she dies or something like that.
yeah.
The other is what if Homelander does become god tier? What if he now is just immortal and even stronger than he was before? How can we survive this?
There's no surviving. And something I was just thinking about too with the V1, I feel like everybody acts like they love Homelander, but I think if there was an opportunity to not let him get it, even his team on Vought in the 7, I don't think they're going to let him get it, is my
So I
thought.
feel that Sage, the smartest girl in
Yeah.
the world, knows that there's V1 out there, and she doesn't want Homelander to get it.
For sure, because you can just she actually didn't have too many lines, I feel like, in this
Mhm.
episode. It was just a lot of like panning over to her reaction of what Homelander's doing, and you can tell she's just getting more and more fed up with just how he's acting as of recently.
100%. You could tell because in Gen V season 2, she talked about, right, trying to stop Homelander at some point.
Yet I think her plan was to get Godolkin in control, and
Mhm.
I don't know if it was control Homelander, or it was definitely not Homelander be the number one guy, if I understand
Yeah, I
correctly.
she has doubts because then Homelander's like telling her, get the whole research team, get everybody onto the V1. But I don't think she's actually executing those plans. Because if the boys can figure out that there's V1 at the place, I have to assume she can too.
Of course.
And I think she's withholding that. So that's going to be an interesting day. I think she's toast from Homelander at some point this season.
Yeah, there's no way that they don't get into, especially with how Homelander's acting as of recently and at the beginning of this season to now. He is just
Yeah.
absolutely losing it. So there's going to be no doubt that they're going to have a fight and he's just going to destroy her because she really has no power besides her
No.
brain.
Yeah, so that is definitely in the future. So it's back to where we were. A big takeaway that I love is the Soldier Boy Homelander dynamic because Soldier Boy has aura as well, and he is one of there's two guys I think in the whole show, three
Hmm.
that can stand with Homelander and give it right back. It's Butcher, it's Soldier Boy, and the third one it was, and at the end of the episode you could tell it's gone, but it was Stan Edgar
Yes. Yeah, that's a
when
great
he was
one.
in charge. But now he lost all his power. But the when he that was one of my favorite dynamics of the earlier seasons with this regular human just talking down to Homelander. You are a product, bad product, and
Yeah,
those were always one of my favorite dynamics.
he's actually such a great actor. I think his name's John Carlo or something like that.
Yeah, I
The
think
guy that
so.
voiced or that's acting for Stan Edgar, and I just love
Mhm.
his like persona and how confident and like calm, cool, and collected he is. And it even goes to a flashback at some point where Homelander hears Stan say that to him, and it just kills
Yeah,
him. And I just love he's just sitting back in his chair, just saying, "Yeah, you're a bad product. This, that. I don't
yeah,
respect you." Especially when he was making Starlight like co-captain and really just pushing his
yeah.
ego.
Giancarlo Esposito is his name. I wanted to look that up. The he was so good in this episode. When he showed up, I've loved him ever since Breaking Bad. He's great in The Mandalorian. He's great in this show. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
The When he shows up this episode, I love his back and forth with uh just the boys. And he had a nice Marie Monroe mention.
Yes.
And then you get to their bunker. But before that, earlier, there was a line that killed me to the Soldier Boy Homelander dynamic when they were talking about all the people that had V1
Uh huh.
and they were going back and they talked about Stormfront and and Soldier Boy has a look that he definitely fucked her and
Yeah.
Homelander has a look that he knows that he did. That one killed me.
That is funny, dude. Oh, what is it? Soldier Boy is just such a standout character now, ever since season
Yeah.
3. And you're so right. His one-liners are absolutely hilarious, and just how he says them, so funny.
Oh my god, he makes me laugh because he just says the most outrageous shit. And his delivery is great.
Yeah.
But back to the bunker, you get there and then you get translucent sun. Because I was confused at first in the previously on. They showed the translucent death, and I'm like, is this guy
Yes.
still alive? And then you get the reveal that his son's there. And Homelander killed his dad, and I love that whole dynamic of that scene.
Yeah, no, that was super cool because it was funny because when I was watching the recap and it brought back the scene of Huey killing him in season 1, I was like, why did they go so far back in the recap to like maybe episode 3 of season 1 or something like that? and now
Yeah.
it makes so much sense. And that dynamic was really cool because I forgot he was a character in Gen V, not super
Hmm.
popular, but he was in there a decent amount, and it was just really cool hearing them like feed him this propaganda to hate Homelander when obviously
Yeah.
Huey's trying to overcompensate for he killed his dad, and it's like, oh yeah, Homelander, we hate that guy, and just acting
Yeah.
all awkward and stuff. It was so funny.
100%. And then like throughout the episode, he's trying to like talk to him, and I'm like, this guy, he's definitely gonna spill the beans. I thought he was for sure he was gonna spill the beans at some point, but he never did.
Yeah, because I thought, because Huey's like in this like, I feel like he's more like spiritual and like have faith and we're gonna save everyone, and like he's just
Hmm.
trying to be the ultimate good guy. And I thought he was gonna do the same thing because he's like kind of has like a ego of we're gonna do the right thing every time now for some reason. That's like the
Yep.
vibe he's putting off. And I thought he was just gonna come out and say it, and I thought it was gonna be crazy, especially when he walked downstairs and like was having the one on one with him.
Yeah, I thought for sure. And I honestly like Starlight's perspective, like, hey, chill out. Like, and then she also complimented him. I'm always trying to do the right thing. And we
Yeah,
connect with that as Huey because he is the one guy who does give hope.
absolutely. To all these characters that have lost all their hope and have been through so much shit, even though Huey has now, but it's cool to see someone still have like their heart and their morals.
100%. While that's happening, we cut back to Homelander, and he's having a full-on crash out. And he's sitting there, his face acting's unreal, and it's just he's killing me. And then we get this godlike angel scene of the former CEO. And at first, I kind of got pulled out for a second. I'm like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
And then she pulls out her titties, and Homelander's like an all-time thing. But then I like how it just cut to that it was imaginary, and he's just sitting there having a crash out vision.
Yeah, it reminds me so much of Green Goblin from Spider-Man 1, of like when Norman was just in his house like acting crazy talking to himself in the mirror, and that's what it reminds me of so much when he's having these crazy crash out scenes of these visions, and he's God, and he's has this ultimate destiny if he's going to be immortal and everybody's going to bow down to him. It's very
Yeah,
much
that
him.
that is a that is a great analogy, Norman, and especially in that scene, where he's looking in the mirror, and this he is. It's full on mental crash out, and the
Yeah.
whole Jesus dynamic of he is the savior. I feel like he fully bought in, and now it's everyone's gonna die.
Yeah, that's the scariest part because I feel like everybody's kind of told him that, but he's never fully believed it himself. But now
Yeah,
he fully believes it. And that is the scariest
yeah,
part.
that is. He's enlightened now in the worst way possible. So then, like when you
Yeah.
cut to him next, he's in the tub of breast milk. That absolutely killed.
Yeah. Dude, and Soldier Boy had such a good
Soldier
line.
Boy comes in, yeah, and they're going back and forth.
That was one of my
That
favorite parts. It's like you're sitting in fucking titty jizz or something like that.
it was, yeah. He's like, I didn't think you could get any weirder.
Yeah. And he's like, dude, use just for men with them a great pube skill.
I forgot because when he said that, I was confused. But then I remembered that he is older than he looks because he's like dyeing his hair and stuff.
Yeah, and it's funny because obviously Soldier Boy we found out is like just not aging at all. So it's
Hmm.
funny to hear him say that to him, and it just really shows that this guy is immortal compared to Homelander, because we've just looked at Homelander as he's immortal essentially.
Yeah, the I always assumed he was immortal, but I did forget about the whole aging thing. So now it makes even more sense why he wants the V1. Not even for the power. Honestly, it's for the immortality.
Exactly, and to fulfill his enlightened prophecy of he's God and he's got to live forever so he can everybody can bow down to him.
Yeah, that it's gonna be insane. So while that's happening, we cut back to you get Zoe and Ryan. They're a little thing,
Mm-hmm.
and she wants to kill Butcher, which I get. But then you get the scene. I loved where Ryan was like, I can smell you from you think I can smell you. And then that they're back and forth. I loved seeing that because I liked also that you could tell Butcher's not treating him like a kid. He even said it, but he just treated him as an adult, and they had a real like actual conversation.
Yeah, just their back and forth dialogue was fantastic. And I think it's because Butcher stopped trying to baby him or act like he's a kid and just tell him
Mhm.
straight, honest, or really not the truth, but talk to him of like how dire and serious the situation is and just lay it all out and have and see how
100%.
Ryan
One
takes
of the
it.
lines, one of the lines with that he dropped that I love is like, "We love the same woman and we hate the same man." And
Yeah,
I'm like, that's a perfect way to put it.
it was a great way to put it. And even going skipping ahead a tiny bit to just their bar scene of
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna talk about next.
when they were just sitting there talking and just drinking a beer. I love that back and forth of just like saying this is like the casualties of wars. Like great men
Mhm.
have risked their life or like done these suicide missions to save everyone else. And like it's crazy to hear Butcher talking Ryan into killing himself. It's like kind of
It really
genius on
is.
his part because he gets a win-win of like he gets to kill
Yeah.
Ryan and Homelander. That guy's the
True.
ultimate salesman. He just sold Ryan on killing himself.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, you're gonna kill yourself and kill this guy for me, so the rest of the world can survive.
And he said it's so good, and it kind of like Ryan's like, hell yeah, I'll do that. And I was like, damn,
Yeah,
he sold it well.
he is, and I was shocked. So I wanted to bring this up.
Hmm.
Butcher tells him that he killed his dad. I saw a theory last week, and I actually believed it, and it may be still true, but now I feel like it's dead. That Butcher actually healed his dad. His dad had cancer, and Butcher's tentacles, when he went to hug him, took the cancer from his dad and absorbed it. And I was like,
Really?
that would be an interesting dynamic. But now maybe that was just someone overthinking the scene, and he did actually kill his dad. So telling your stepson that you killed your dad and I want you to kill yourself, that's what I'm saying. That is an unreal sales job. You're absolutely right there.
Yeah, and it's I feel like it would take away from Butcher if he did that for his dad, especially like just starting off this season with obviously the mindset Butcher's in after the finale of season 4, and you can just tell
Mhm.
he was like, no, I'm gonna stop playing games. I'm gonna stop even pretending like I'm trying to save everyone. I'm just gonna do my thing, and I need to kill Homelander and the rest of the soups. And I feel like it would have
Yeah,
taken away from that if he saved his dad.
true. The it could also, the other side is it shows Butcher is good at heart, but
Uh
I
huh.
I think that was just a fake theory. Did you expect Ryan to say yes?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like at the beginning when they were standing right outside the bunker, no.
Mhm.
Of like even fighting Homeland. I was really curious on where that was gonna go. But by the end, Butcher made it sound so good and like sold Ryan on this is gonna be the thing and this is your if anybody has I forget what he said,
I
not
think
a
it was Destiny.
prophecy. Yeah, destiny. That's what it was. If anybody's got a destiny, it's you, kid. And like just the way he said it, I was believing it too. I was like, no,
Yeah.
that is right. That is the way to go out if you're him.
No, you're right. And I didn't think about it from a sales perspective. Obviously, you're in sales, so it probably crossed your mind. But now that you mention it, it was an unreal sales pitch. Yeah,
Yeah.
he really sold the hook, line, and sinker.
Like, he did, and I
He
was
went
like,
from absolutely not to yeah, I'll do it by the end of a conversation. That's true sales right there.
yeah, hey, and we'll just go, we'll grab a beer, sit down and talk about it. And obviously Butcher's got an alternate motive in his head, and just the way he persuaded it, and not even in like a super pushy way, just like the way he was
Yeah.
using his words and very smart on his part. So I thought that was cool.
100%. No, that is that's some good insight there. Then that was a great scene, and then you get back to the boys. Interesting little theory I had. I don't know. So Kimiko wants kids,
Uh-huh.
and Frenchie doesn't. So my immediate grim mindset is Frenchie's gonna get her pregnant now that she's obviously, it seems like she's super into porn and all that. They're probably hooking up a lot.
Yeah,
I think Frenchie will get her pregnant. Maybe Frenchie dies and she has the kids and like raises them with the memory of Frenchie.
true.
But I also think she might be toast. So that was just a thought that crossed my mind. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
think that's
that's
gonna probably go in.
and then maybe even takes Butcher's dog and watches over Butcher's
Mhm.
dog because she's mentioned about having a dog and the kids.
True.
So just to tie into
True.
that theory.
Yeah, maybe it comes true. I do. I love Butcher's dog. Every little scene. I always wanted. I'm not. I wasn't a dog guy. Now I have one, but I want a. I want a bulldog. And that
Yeah,
scene, I really. I love that dog.
no, me too. And just Butcher's love for it, and even what he said to Ryan, I forget. He said like a one liner. It's always so funny how Butcher's says things, and
Mhm.
Ryan was like, "Does the dog still hump everything?" He's like, for a lad his age or something like that, he tries to as much as he can. I don't know. It's just so funny how he says things.
Yeah. The Can you pause of the podcast for a second? I just have to check if my phone's gonna die.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm at 10%. So I'll keep it brief, but we might switch the laptop at some point. Either way, the next thing is the Deep and his crew find the bunker. And something's up with Black Noir. I don't know. I'm sus of him. I
Yeah.
did see a spoiler in the comments that made me think something. I won't get into it, but
Okay.
a spoiler popped up on my Twitter. Something, keep your eye out on Black Noir. They get to the thing. That one girl that they're with, she is so overpowered.
Yeah.
Then Shinzo, and I was like, I think she's gonna kill someone this episode. Didn't expect how it would play out, but she's one of the most overpowered suits they had.
I was thinking that same thing. As soon as I saw her pull up with like the rest of the kind of the clowns, like I feel like the other three were clowns out of the soups. And then
Mhm.
seeing her, I was like, oh God, there's what can you do? Because she could as soon as she looks at you, it's essentially game over. Also, she takes
Yeah,
his one uh fist close and you're gone.
yeah, no. So they show up. She starts breaking through the door. They send out. Well, while that's happening, most underrated dynamic this episode was MM and Stan Edgar. I love their whole back and forth.
Yeah, I was thinking that same thing. I love just hearing them sit there and talk and like fill each other in on kind of like when Stan was talking about MM's dad and
Hmm.
talking about the lawyers and he had respect for his dad for how much work he put in and how much he made his guys go through the lawyers and everything like that. And then them just smoking a fancy cigar. It was really cool
Yeah.
to get that back and forth.
No, and I really like it. It was good backstory for MM's dad and just his whole dynamic. I thought that scene, their whole dynamic, I really liked. Because it was funny. It was like, "What are you packing?" And then it just cuts to fancy cigars, and
Yeah.
then they're drinking them. While that's happening, Zoe goes back with Frenchie and finds her dad, and they destroy the virus. And I think the virus might be toast the rest of the season. I think they fully transitioned to V1 is now the thing.
Yeah. Does V1 make a big difference now without the virus though? Because
That's a good point.
I'm trying to think, how do you even kill Soldier Boy? It's something to do with chopping his head off somehow, I would imagine, but I really don't know how you kill these people now without a virus of some sort.
Yeah, the maybe Frenchie does recoup the virus back up, but that is going to be interesting because now their ace in their pockets kind of gone.
Yeah, they always throw these huge changes, and it's like you're thinking the virus that's going to be the whole rest of the season on how they're going to end kill Homelander, And then this happens and it throws such a curveball to it.
Yeah. The cutting back, there was one more line I want to talk about. One of the best scenes in the show was the and Edgar, but Edgar's rant on what's going to come next. He's like, we're all pieces in a cog of a machine. When superheroes are done, what corporations will find something else? And I thought that was a great point because I was thinking that, like, yeah, what if they do kill the soups? Vaught's going to come up with something to bring soups back or do something else.
Exactly. And it's so funny because it ties into obviously life so much because there at the end of the day you could stop whatever's going on at that time, but there's always going to be the next corporation and the next business and just
Yep.
trying to make money, and they're going to figure out a way to make money and keep everything going. So that is a great point, and that was cool to hear that from Stan.
Yeah, and he said it is like the bottom line is the dollar, and whatever's going to bring that. And that, to your point, that's what this show's great at. It is society. No matter we could change, do everything, the dollar is going to drive everything.
Exactly. No matter what, everybody's still going to try to chase making money and figure out a way to make money.
100%. So then, while that's happening, you get the cut back to Homelander. I love Homelander carrying around the milk. Like he's just like fully in now. And then you get the firecracker and Soldier Boy when they were flirting, talking about the Glock versus
Yeah.
the Colt. That was really good.
That was funny. It's very fitting of their characters how that led up.
It really was. And then when they were in bed, he's like, "Well, what's with the hairless pussy?"
Yeah.
He's like, "What's the point of going down there?" I was like, "That is." His Soldier Boy is just one of the funniest characters I've ever watched on TV.
No, he is because he just says like he just catches you off guard every time with what he says. And something to tie
Mm,
back into Homelander walking around with the milk. I feel like he's doing that now since he's so like in his head that he is God, so he doesn't even care about trying to hide it anymore. Like
a
there's
hundred
in
percent.
his head, there's nobody that can stop him. He's not worried about that anymore, trying to hide it.
Yeah, that is a great point. It really just shows that, and you could tell with his attitude, the way he's walking around, and just he's fully accepted himself now, and that's honestly the most dangerous thing for everyone else.
Yeah, because it's the first time I think we've seen Homelander kind of truly accept who he is and his what he's gonna do, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That no, that's a great point. The other, well, back to the original Butcher and Ryan, you get that scene where Ryan tells him, or Butcher tells him, like at first their dynamics like coming together strong. I'm like, okay, they're gonna be working together. And then he lies. He said, "You lied to me," and that's where the sales pitch failed, and
Yeah,
you get the real motive. And I I was surprised that Butcher didn't try to do damage control and save it, but
yeah.
he's just like, nope, that this is what it is.
It kind of pisses me off when Butcher gets like that because you could tell, like when you saw like the cancer thing crawling in his face right after he realized that
Mm-hmm.
the virus was destroyed, and then you can just tell when he's in like that rampage mindset, and that's when he always just crashes out on Ryan and says the complete wrong thing.
100%. And like that's when like Huey is so scared of him because he knows he has that in him where he doesn't think and he just is a savage.
Yeah, he just goes full crash out mode and nobody can stop him.
Mm. So then we cut back to the bunker and the Deep tells the translucent son the truth, and I love where he's like, "On God, bro," or he said something like that.
Yeah, no cap on God, bro.
That was great. And then they had the flip, and then Edgar locks him in, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this guy's just a savage." And then he gets snatched.
Yeah,
Um, and then the unreal fight scene was Huey versus the Maverick Kid. Just how they shot that with an invisible guy, not invincible,
yeah.
and he's flying around the room. I thought that was really well shot, that fight scene.
It was, and just like, especially when he hits him with the golf club, and then you see like the bed ruffle up a little bit, and then he has no idea where he is. He's just swinging like crazy, and then
Yeah.
just getting pushed into everything. See him fighting back. I can't even imagine how Huey's acting that scene, or the actor that plays Huey being in that scene and like trying to act it out, because obviously probably nobody's actually there. So to act
Yeah.
it out as well as he did is really good job.
No, that was. And then you get the. Did you think for a second walked in and exploded someone? Did you think Huey was dead at all?
I actually did. I thought they killed him right then and there, because there's just no way that it wasn't Huey, especially with how they shot it real quick. You can't see Huey and just blood everywhere. I actually thought they killed him. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
For a split second, I did, and then the way they shot it though, where you couldn't really see him, but I was like, did they really just do Huey like that? For a split second, I did, but I really liked the way it kind of turned out because obviously the translucent guy was in front of him, and she can't tell. So that was a great scene.
And they just killed that overpowered character off in like 2 seconds. Starlight just comes in and she's just gone. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's how we kill this most overpowered person.
which I'm like, we kind of talked about it earlier, but they needed to kill her because she could
Yeah,
just literally blow up anyone at any moment.
she's been a threat since season 2. I think that's
Yeah,
when we
no,
first
that's
saw her
true.
at the asylum or
The
whatever it was.
prison. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly. Then Starlight killed her. I like the she almost loses it because she thought he would die, which I get. That was a nice little dynamic.
Hmm.
And you get that great scene. They kidnap Edgar, and the Deep turns on Noir, gasses him for the clout,
Yeah,
um, which I found interesting. Another underrated. I like that dog character. The guy from I think he was from what last season
or
or
Gen
was it Gen
V.
V? One of them.
Yeah,
It was
Gen
Gen V,
V.
where yeah, he could smell everything really good. That was a nice, interesting. I like a little callback to him.
And I like that they tied in when Translucent Sun came up and they smelt him and it was the cologne that his dad sponsored or whatever. And then they used it
Yeah,
against him when MM grabbed it and it was like, how about this? And sprayed it all over his face. I just thought it was
yeah,
funny that they tied it back in.
that was great. Then after that great scene, you get the cut to Ryan calling Homelander, and then Homelander shows up. He's acting like Jesus and talking like Jesus,
Yeah,
and then you get the fight scene, which I did not expect, and you could tell Ryan was doing damage to Homelander.
he was just like what was it? It looked like the cut or his lasers went into him a little bit. And then even when he drew blood from his face.
And then Homelander decides to just body him, which you get. And then there was the
Yeah,
shot of him over top of him punching him. And it was very Invincible-esque. I just thought of the exact shot of Nolan beating up Mark. And I thought that was a nice little
it
parallel.
it was, and I feel like they probably knew what they were doing with that because that's exactly
Mm.
what it looked like. It literally looked like the Omni Man and Invincible fight, just punch him over and over again. I really thought for a second Butcher was gonna come in and like tentacle his arm because I felt like they just kind of set it up for it because it would like
Yeah.
slow mo and then punch. I thought Butcher was gonna come in to the rescue.
I thought the same thing. And then I half expected a very invincible thing where like uh what's his or Homelander was gonna say, I'm like gonna be immortal, blah blah blah. Like what else am I gonna have? How are you gonna do this? And then Ryan to say, I'm gonna have you, Dad, or something like that. I was waiting for it.
True. Yeah, that would have hit if they did that because it would have
Yeah,
followed like the end of season 1 of Invincible so well.
100%. So then, did you think when Butcher shows back up, did you think, and you cut to Homelander sitting there with covered in blood, did you think he was dead?
I did because I really thought, especially after faking out Huey, I think that came the Ryan and Homelander fight came after, if I'm remembering
Hmm.
correctly. After
Yep.
faking out the Huey death, I thought for sure that he was because I thought they were gonna kill somebody at this point.
Yeah. If it wasn't Ryan, I would have thought at first I did for a half second when Butcher shows up and he's not moving,
Uh huh.
but they need Ryan. Ryan's the only like shot they have, I feel. So It would have been a very savage moment though if Homelander just killed his son, and that would have been
Yeah,
really
because
set the tone.
it really would have just showed this guy is just absolutely nuts. You can tell he's nuts, but would have just
Yeah.
really escalated it even more.
And then the last two little scenes, you get Starlight leaving, which I felt a little like rushed. I don't know. She was just like, I gotta get out of here. And I feel like it's just setting up for some sort of character thing.
Yeah,
But did you have thoughts on that?
I just thought it was kind of weird that how she just up and left kind of out of nowhere. It felt like I'm just hoping what she does. Obviously, she said she doesn't want to be with or around anybody because she can't go through the pain of them getting hurt or killed, and it was easier by herself. But I hope she goes to get Marie Monroe and that group. I just want to
That would
see the
be.
boys in that group from Gen V together. I think it'd be so
Mhm.
sick.
I agree. That would be the best play for her. The other thing I could see is her come in to save them because I feel like they got to go to the bunker or the wherever the V1 is next episode,
Yeah,
and maybe she comes in to save the day, or they just didn't want her in that group dynamic, which I don't mind. I want to see they remove the special weapon, so it's interesting to see how the boys will do it.
yeah. I don't know what's to come with her leaving and where it's going to go. It must be setting up for her, like you said, to come in and save them next episode at some point.
Yep. And then the last scene we get is the D presenting Homelander with Stan Edgar. And I am so curious to see where that's going to go.
Yeah, just when Homelander comes up and is like grabbing his head covered in blood. I does he say something in his ear or like whisper in his ear or no? Can't
He's like,
remember.
we have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, and Stan's just sitting there like all still and just taking it.
It's the first time Stan is not in a power position talking to him, and you could tell he's kind of a bitch there.
Yeah, it's the first time I feel like we've seen Stan not show authority or super confidence because obviously in that situation, as a regular human, you kind of can't. But it's crazy to
Yeah,
see him actually feel powerless and have no authority.
yeah, 100%. Overall, I think the episode was solid. The Give it an 8. Nice little good episode. Any
Uh huh.
predictions on what you see next?
Ooh, this one's so tough to predict. This show, I feel like just
Yeah.
what we've mentioned a couple times with the curveballs and everything, they throw a curveball into the mix every time with whether it's the virus, Soldier Boy coming back, Soldier Boy living. I really don't know. Besides, they have to try to go find the V1 at whatever bunker, and I imagine they're probably going to encounter Homelander or for sure somebody from Vought or the
Yeah.
Seven. I hope it's I would hope it's Soldier Boy though, and they can try to convince him because obviously Soldier Boy's seeing more and more that Homelander's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, that's true. They have to get Soldier Boy on their side. Say they get the V1.
Uh huh.
What do they do with it? What do you think they do with it?
I it's with Starlight not being there. I was thinking at first they would try to give it to Starlight and Kamiko. That way they can live through the virus. But now that we have no virus, I'm really not sure to be honest now with the virus being
Yeah,
gone.
because they don't want it to get into Homelander's hands. Does one of the boys take it? I'm wondering. Does Huey take it?
Imagine if Huey takes it because now Starlight doesn't have to worry about him getting hurt,
That's a good point.
and that might be the thing that he gets to bring her back with. Hey, you don't have to worry about me. I took this for you, so that way you don't have to worry about me getting hurt and you going through this pain of me dying or whatever. That's my
True.
only kind of thought with it.
Then could Butcher get his hands on it? Could they give it to Ryan? I I really don't know where it's going to go. Do you think you had
Hmm.
to make a prediction? Does Homelander get V1?
I'm gonna go with no. there's just no way he gets his hands on it. Because I feel like this guy has kind of had everything go his way so far. Like the boys have gotten close and have made good attempts at breaking down their empire, essentially the Paw Empire. But I feel like this is the one time that I think they get the leg up on Homelander. At least that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think he gets it. I think
Oh no.
somehow Homelander gets it and he goes full on like just he's now God in his mind and goes on some sort of rampage.
Dude,
I don't know. I feel like he might.
that story is going to be nuts because how do you stop him at that point?
Yeah,
That is going to be crazy. I'm super excited to see either which way.
I can't wait. So to wrap up next week, what are you watching first?
Oh man. Since it's the finale, I feel like I got to go Invincible.
Same here. But I think for podcast purposes,
Uh-huh.
I might do Invincible second because it'll flow right in and it'll be fresh in my mind. But I want to watch Invincible first.
That's a great point. I probably will do that too cuz to come into it fresh, especially we just know this finale is going to be a banger with the lead up that we've gotten. There's no way it's just not absolute chaos. And do you think it's going to be the best episode out of the season? It's a strong season.
I can't see a world where it is.
Me
Like,
either, dude.
if
There's
it
just
is, yeah,
how do you top these episodes?
I feel like it's going to be more. There's going to be a lot of shit that goes down, and it could blow my mind again. But I feel like they're going to set up for the future.
Yeah, that is probably what's going to happen. I'd be kind of bummed out if now we get a slower paced episode for the finale.
But with Invincible, the two season finales, one and three, were the two best episodes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So they might keep it up. Two things I wanted to note about Invincible quick. One, I love that it's full screen when you're watching on the TV. There's no black bars
Yeah.
because they shoot it for TV. And two, I just lost my. With it being animation, they can do fight scenes whenever they want because it's not like a budget for shooting a big action set piece. So with animation, they can just do banger on banger on banger.
That's true. And you don't have that budget concern. You can just do it as much as you want.
Mhm.
And we
So
saw that a lot, obviously, with the past couple episodes and just even the beginning of this one with all the fighting and bloodshed. So it's crazy.
absolutely. But thank you guys for tuning in. You made it all the way to the end of the pod. Me and Peyton, trust me, really appreciate it. Like, if
Absolutely.
you made it to the end of the pod, drop a comment below. You'll get some interaction from us. I guarantee it, because that's what we really like to see.
Just say I made
But
it.
thank you guys. Yeah, just say I made it. Perfect. That's perfect. And I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in and get excited. Next week, we will be doing the Invincible finale. We'll be doing Boys episode 4. We plan on talking Maul soon, if anybody's watching
Yes.
that, with some potential special guests.
Yes.
And I might get some Daredevil action in after Invincible ends. But great to be a nerd. Pate, any
Yes.
final thoughts?
No, I'm just super excited. It's going to be a banger last week of Invincible and the boys. It's going to be our last week of watching both and discussing both in one time. And unfortunately, sad to say, we'll never get to do it again with the boys coming to an end after this. So just a fantastic time. We appreciate all the support and comment below your theories and thoughts on what's going to happen with the boys. We're curious to know that too, just to see what you guys think what's going to happen with Homelander and V1. Excited to see that and just excited to be here next Wednesday and shoot this podcast.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Other thing, drop in the comments. I want to know, are you watching The Boys or are you watching Invincible first? Very curious. But you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Peace.